gorgeous breezy day here on the porch, and I wanted to do a July garden tour. I meant to do one in June, but I don't know, time just got away from me, and I'm really sad that I didn't do that because there was a lot of really beautiful things that now are faded that I'm not going to get a chance to show you, but what can you do? So anyway, it's now mid-July, and I want to give you a nice July garden tour, so let's go. I thought I'd start the tour over here on the side of the porch, and the wisteria is just doing fantastic. It has covered the arbors, and honestly, I think that by the end of summer, that is just going to be pretty much filled. And we did get some blooms down here at the bottom, so that was nice to see a little bit of purple blooms. And then we have my little cupcake buddleia is doing good. I transplanted this here in one of my previous videos that I'll link on the screen up above. That I was removing some of the plants from the front and adding some plants from the front, I should say, and I moved a couple things. So this is one of the things that I moved, and that's doing great. Oh, I don't know if you can see the honeybee that just was on there. So that's awesome. There is a peony there that's doing good. It's still not mature enough that it's bloomed for me yet, but maybe next year we'll get some flowers on that peony. My rose bush that I put in during that same video that I'll link above is doing good. It is pretty much done with the blooms, and I'm not sure if that's going to get any more blooms on it. There's just they're all pretty faded. But this cupcake buddleia, which is the same as the one on the side, is doing really good. I think this is one of those plants that, I don't know if you've ever heard this saying, first year they sleep, second year they creep, third year they leap. I think this might be one of those plants because, man, this year it's leaping, so it's doing really good. But this is a petite variety. This is not going to get too much bigger than this, but it's really kind of filled out to its expected size, so I'm very happy with that. Got some pretty Stella d'Oro lilies, and the echinacea is looking gorgeous, and I've got two kinds here in the front. The purple and the yellow, not the technical terms. Fountain needs a scrub, but what can you do? I'll get to that in my Friday zone, which is the front here. But my annuals here that I put in the front, the caladiums and the New Guinea impatiens are looking nice. They're so pretty. I really like those. Those are turned out nice. And of course the foxglove there in the corner that were in bloom when I put them in here when I redid this front garden have since faded, but still a pretty texture, I think. I like that a lot in the garden. So looks pretty there. Down in the front, I did cut back the annual salvia, and I'm getting a second flush on my salvia, and I just have a couple, and that one over there, I don't see any more blooms on that one yet, but that makes me happy that I cut that back and that's reblooming, so yay for that. My daylilies are pretty much done. I think actually today is the last day for my daylilies, and then Friday when I do this zone I'm going to cut all those stems back. And my false sunflowers here, I had a big stand of them here last year, but they got choked out, I don't know, by the lilies and by the spiderwort, but I had a little volunteer over here, so go figure. Over here, the bee balm did really nice this year. It really was spreading nice, and it looked so pretty, but that's all faded now, unfortunately. That's one of those things I wish I had done a June tour so I could have showed you the bee balm. It looked really pretty. But on a brighter note, look at these lilies are getting ready to pop. Oh, they're going to be gorgeous because they're, I forget the name, Cherokee Red or Red Cherokee, something like that. Cherokee Sunrise. I'll have to put that on the screen, but they are going to be gorgeous. And then something very interesting. So last year, when I put was it last year or two? I think it was early in the spring last year. I put this Russian sage that was over where the trellis is. were on the side, I moved those 3 clumps, 1 here and then 2 in the back. The 2 in the back are doing great. This clump though, it's just really suffering. It's just not, it's not doing good. It's just like I got a few, let's see, I mean, I don't know. It's a little bit grew up from the woody base, but it's just not doing hardly anything, which I'm super surprised because of the 3, because this is the most sun location. I thought this was going to do the best, but not so much. I love this black onyx and pearl penstemon. I just think that is such a pretty plant. I love the color. And last month it did have, for a very brief time, little white flowers that were really beautiful. But I just love it for the color, and I love the texture of these seed pods. I think are just so awesome. And I've got another bunch down front there. And of course the Siberian iris is all out of bloom now as well. Coming over here to the other side of the porch, my hydrangea is doing great. It is not blooming this year, which I was kind of afraid that would happen because unfortunately last year in the fall, my lawn guys, who are great and they were trying to do a nice thing for me, cut back everything. They cut back the hydrangea too, and so I was like heartbroken because I was like I hoped that I hadn't lost them, but I kind of figured they'd come back but just not bloom, and that's the case. I'm not getting blooms on any of my 3 hydrangeas, so too bad, but there's always next year. But this hosta that I transplanted over here last year has just gone to town. It's looking gorgeous. I just love it. I do have to move though. I have a little mini hosta that's under there that's getting eclipsed, so I'm going to move that to the back into the fenced yard. And I've got a little heuchera there and some beautiful ajuga. My ghost fern is doing great. The sedum is coming along. My nepeta looks good. I really need to shear this back. I sheared back the nepeta in the back garden this morning because today's Tuesday and I was doing my Tuesday garden zone, which was in the back, so I sheared that off. So I'll be shearing that off tomorrow because this is the Wednesday zone. But the hosta looks great, and the fountain of course is nice. No frogs yet. And my little water slide hosta, which I love, is doing wonderful. Again, my non-blooming hydrangea. Oh dear, what can you do? Azalea hosta again is looking great. I had some pretty lilies here that have gone out, so we just have some seed pods there. And all the hostas are starting to bloom. And I know a lot of people don't like the flowers of hosta, but I love them. I just think they're so pretty, and I do cut them and I bring them in for arrangements, and I just think they're so pretty. So I keep them on, but I know a lot of people don't care for them and they cut them off, which that's fine too. It's everybody's choice, what they like in a garden. The Ajuga is going terrific over here. This ground cover, oh, it's going great. My other hydrangea, not blooming, but very healthy. It bounced back really great, so I'm sure I will get beautiful blooms next year. My hosta, my praying hands hosta. I love this. Oh, and that's starting to get some buds coming out. I have a cute little Rudbeckia here. It's a little miniature variety. I think I'm gonna have to take that up and put that in a sunnier location. I moved it last year because it needed more sun and I thought it would get some sun here, but I was wrong. So I'm gonna pull that out and put it somewhere else. But the lilac is doing good. I did treat it earlier on with systemic drench, and it seems to be doing better this year than it has the past couple of years. And I did trim off some of the top growth too to make it more shrubby. So I'm just gonna continue to do that to make it shrub out and get lots of nice blooms down at the bottom. So spinning around here, we'll go to the crabapple bed. And this heuchera is looking so pretty. Look at these blooms. I just think they're so beautiful. And these heuchera, I don't know, they didn't come back so great this year. They're tiny. They're tiny. And there might be something going on in this bed because these two hosta are not as big as they were last year. I mean, I really feel that they were much bigger and more robust last year. So I'm not sure. Maybe I need to get some compost in here and amend this soil a little bit. because I had to pull out some of the heuchera last year to make room because they were getting eclipsed, but one of them I left in there, and it's doing okay, but like none of them are like really robust, so I don't know. That's interesting. I don't know, so we'll have to see about that. So I'm going to swing around here and we'll look at the willow bed. My wheelbarrow of my annuals are doing good. They're spilling out and looking pretty. All my hosta in here are just looking great. My ferns. All the hosta except for this one little mini. This is such a weird thing. I wanted to show you guys. This thing was even more covered with this, I guess it's like a mushroom growth, but it was covered, and I kind of started to like try to wash it off, and it like poofs out like spores. I don't know. So I'm gonna dig this out and just get rid of it, because I don't know what the devil's going on with that, but that's weird, and that's not looking healthy, so I'm pulling that out. But other than that, of course the iris have gone, and I just like to keep them in place for the texture. We've got the spiderwort and some creeping jenny down in front. But yeah, like the hosta and the ferns under here are looking beautiful. And around on this other side, my guacamole hosta, which is the one over there, that one is doing the best that it's ever been. It's gotten the biggest. I'm going to go around this wheelbarrow here, give you a close-up of that. Oh, and this solar eclipse heuchera. Oh my gosh, that is just my favorite. I love that plant so much. I love how that color kind of goes with the chartreuse of that hosta and the fern. It just, oh my gosh, I just think that is just a beautiful pairing. But yeah, all the hostas are doing great, and this guacamole has gotten the biggest that it's ever been, because this is supposed to be a 3x3, and I would say it's probably like maybe 2.5 feet right now. I don't think it's quite 3, but it's getting there. And I did plant it so that it had some more room over here to spread out, but actually, I don't know. That mum, I'll have to see how it does this fall, but I might pull that out and put another hosta, and a really interesting hosta variety in there, because I love my hostas, but gorgeous. I've come through the back gate into the fenced garden, and the Coreopsis is just beautiful, but it's a little floppy. I think I really need to get another decorative support for this, or move it somewhere where it's not reaching for the light, because I kind of think that's what's happening here. I think it's just reaching for the light, but it's so beautiful. I love the color, and I love how it plays next to the creeping jenny there. And it's really interesting, the creeping jenny, when it's more in the sun, it gets more yellowy, and when it's more in the shade, I'm going to turn you around over here to show you the difference. The creeping jenny underneath my Weigela is more green. So very interesting. Same plant, but different light exposure gives you a different result. So back over here, I have the phlox. They're getting ready to bloom. Hi, Avery. But they're doing great. The plant supports that I put on, the decorative plant supports from Gardener Supply, which if you kind of see down in there, the structure, they're beautiful, but they're doing a nice job, and these are looking so healthy and strong and robust this year. I'm loving the phlox. So this area, very nice. Just have to maybe do a plant support for that Coreopsis, but I love that variety. It's so pretty. So over here to the other side of the swing, I love this bed, is just doing fantastic. I've got the echinacea, 2 different varieties, the light purple over here. Oh, it's so pretty. And if you can see, these are just magnets for pollinators. I sit here on this swing, and between the echinacea and the Russian sage, it is just covered with bees all day. They're like, right now there's at least a dozen bees. And look at that echinacea. Oh, that like hot like coral color. So pretty. But the Russian sage is doing, see this, what a difference. This Russian sage compared to that spindly little pathetic in the front. I mean, this one is huge. And it's the right spot for it too, because it's reaching up for the sun, and so it kind of reaches more that way, you know, towards the fence than into the yard. It's into the yard very, very slightly, but it's kind of contained, so that's an awesome location for that, because as you can see over here, this Russian sage is also reaching for the sun, but it's reaching more out into the grass. So either I put a support on it, you know, do some sort of a decorative support for that, or maybe I move it. I don't know, but it's doing great and I'm super happy, so I'm going to leave that alone. So back over here to this bed. This echinacea just has done so well this year. Look at it, it's massive. You know those flowers, they're so gorgeous. And then my Yuki Snowflake shrub, that is just doing gangbusters. That was only supposed to be, I think, like a 24-inch shrub. I mean, that's over 3 feet. That's doing great. But I love the texture of that and the color. And it's just a little petite shrub. It's not going to get any like taller, I don't think. Well, who knows? But it's not supposed to stay. It's supposed to stay pretty small and compact. So love the Yuki Snowflake. And then over here, more blooming hosta, and my pretty hibiscus. There's not a good bloom on it to show you, but these have been blossoming like crazy. And if you look at all those buds that are getting ready to bud out there and right there, and down here and down there. I mean, oh, so many nice flowers are to come, and I just love them. They're so beautiful. And this one lone daisy that survived over here is doing good. It's flowering. Of course, the Russian sage. And here's a better picture of these beautiful hibiscus and their blooms. Oh, look at that. That is just gorgeous. And again, just full of blooms, or buds that are getting ready to bloom. So my Easter lilies are blooming, and oh gosh, they are so pretty. Here's my spindly one that I put in there from this Easter. It looks terrible now because it's, you know, they force them to bloom early when you get them in the store for Easter. But now is their normal bloom time. So next year that one will bloom the same time as these others. So I just love that. I think that is a beautiful, beautiful lily. So pretty. And my baskets along the shed are doing fantastic. Look at these, they're massive. Those are nice baskets. So they have done great. Oh my gosh, and my snakehead allium, not snakehead, Medusa. This is Medusa allium because the flower heads look like little snake heads coming up. Aren't they cool? So they're getting ready to blossom. So maybe in the next tour we'll have Medusa alliums to show you. And then I just sheared back this morning the Veronica. There's a couple of little blossoms here and there coming up. So hopefully that will rebloom, but cut that back. And then, oh my gosh, my silver mound. Look at this. It looks gorgeous. That is doing so well this year. That really is loving its life right there. That's the perfect spot for that plant. And I love it. And oh my gosh, if you've never felt this, this feels so soft. It's incredibly soft. You just want to sit here and pet it. Ah, gorgeous. And then of course, my third hibiscus that I tucked over here. And honestly, as I'm sitting there at night and thinking about it and looking at the texture, looking at the whole plan of the garden, that was not the best place to put it. I mean, it's doing well, but it's too tall there. I needed something really short and small down in there to kind of, you know, do the height graduating down. So I think I might move that, not now, but maybe at the end of the season I'll move that and put that over here next to the one that has the daisy by it. So I think I'm gonna move that. But for now it's nice, and oh my gosh, it gives such a smile to my face when I come out and I see these beautiful flowers. It's funny, that one's opening up and it's facing to the fence, which is kind of sad because we can't enjoy it, but oh my gosh, look at that. Look at that. Oh, gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. So, all right, so let's spin around here. I've got my Rudbeckia is starting to bloom on the end here. And right behind the peonies, I have a taller variety of Rudbeckia that's getting ready to bloom. And I'm really happy with the succession in this bed because early spring I've got my peonies and they look great, and I like having my iris down here in front that gives them a little bit of support, as well as the lilies. So it's the peonies, the iris, then the lilies, and those are Stelladoro lilies, so they'll continue to bloom throughout the summer. But now we're coming into the late summer, so I've got some shorter Rudbeckia there, and then all the taller, and then shorter. So shorter, taller, shorter. So I'm very happy with that. Here's some of my Nepeta down here that I just sheared off this morning, and that will blossom again, but there's still bees all around. And I've got my beautiful ground cover, the Ajuga, so pretty. This Coreopsis is doing fantastic. That's not in need of any supporting or anything. That's just doing its thing and doing great. And then I've got all of the daisies over here. I might actually bring that one lone daisy and put it over here. I'm not sure. Maybe I'll just let it go. Who knows? And then my wall basket. It's looking a little bit sad at the moment because we had some couple days with really high heat and I forgot to water it. So it was so droopy and sad. And I went over and I deadheaded it, and when I was looking, it did have budworms too. So I've got to actually remember to spray that for budworms tonight. But it's starting to blossom again, and it will look fine. It'll blossom out in another like week or so. I'll have gorgeous flowers again on it, but that was my neglect, my fault. So, oh, we've got lots of buds coming up. I don't even remember what color lilies these are or what they are, but oh, I'm so excited. It's like anticipation. But look at this one. It's so pretty with the peach and mauve. So beautiful. And then these ones, oh my gosh, the yellow and the rust. Just gorgeous. Lots of buds to come for that. And again, the Ajuga's doing nice under there, and so is the creeping Jenny. And my huge Weigela bush is doing great. I do always have to prune on that a little bit to keep the canopy up from the bed and the branches from reaching out into the yard too much, but oh, that's a beauty. And it will get another flush of color on it. It's got a little bit of blooming starting right here. You'll see. Actually, right here's, you can see a little bit there. I see some more flowers coming out up here. So it will get another flush, but it's not as nice as the first one in the spring. All my hostas and ferns are looking great over here. And I just, again, love the variety of color and texture. The cinnamon ferns, so beautiful. So I'm very happy. This back garden is just really coming together for me. There's still opportunities to improve it, but I'm really enjoying it. So next, let's head on around to the deck. All right, coming onto the deck, I have my potted willow, which is doing fantastic. It is just looking so good. I have to decide if I'm going to plant that out into the landscape this fall or if I'm going to winter it over inside again. I don't know. I have to decide about that. We shall see. Stay tuned. But oh my gosh, this is super exciting news. These canna bulbs that I thought I probably killed because I wintered them over and they were so good and healthy, and I laid them out on the sidewalk over there meaning to plant them, and I didn't plant them, and I didn't plant them, and I didn't plant them, and I thought that I had killed them. And so one day I just tossed them in the ground during one of my videos, and I hoped for the best. And look at, they are doing phenomenal. They're doing so good. They're just really, really something. Love the coloration on this variety of canna. And I don't know what they are, but oh, I just love them. Hi, Avery. Hello, you. Hi. Hello. And then over here, hostas are doing great along the fence. and I had planted some orange and yellow cannas interspersed among them, and they're doing good. They're doing good. I don't think these are the variety that get super tall like those other ones over here that I just showed you. Those are going to get very tall. These ones, well, we'll have to wait and see, but I don't think that they are. But they're looking nice, and I like that they add a little bit more color over here amongst the hosta. I love that. Let's spin you around. The only other things I have to show you are my basil. My basil is doing great. This is just a plant from the store. Like, you know how you buy those little plastic packages of basil, that it's the whole basil plant, and it's like comes the roots and everything in the dirt? That's what this was. And I just potted it up inside and then moved it outside, and it's like, it's phenomenal. It's doing great. So we've got great source of basil for our caprese salads. So I love having that outside the kitchen door. And then the last thing is my 3 hanging baskets, which are doing great. Just fertilizing them every week with the Miracle Grow, and they're looking awesome. So that is it for my July garden tour. What do you think, Avery? Yes, good stuff, right? So that is it for the July garden tour. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will be sure to do an August tour as well. So talk to you guys soon, and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.